Welcome, warriors.
Yay!
Welcome back to another episode with your crazy warriors.
Now I gotta think of what rhymes with warriors, and it could be we're also worriers.
Oh, 100%. I feel like sometimes when I say warriors really fast, it sounds like warriors.
Same.
Pretty much the same word, I guess.
Yeah.
Basically, very different meanings, but they go hand in hand.
But when you're an anxiety warrior,
Warrior.
I said that like that on purpose. You don't want to be confused with an anxiety warrior.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that's true. We don't want those things to be confused. Although both things can be true at the same time, you may want to draw the distinction when you're talking about yourself or someone else in one context or another. So we are going to do an Anxiety Diaries episode for you all today. Anxiety Diaries. I'm pretty sure that was a sting.
That was
now
it.
I need to go back and listen to it. That was it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So
if you don't, now it's official. Now you've heard the sting. Now it's official. If you had heard our first Anxiety Diaries episode, you'll be familiar. But for anyone that's listening for the first time, we're kind of just going to be checking in with each other here and there with a diaries episode where each of us just share some of the anxieties that are coming up in our real lives in real time. So stuff we're dealing with that's causing us anxiety that doesn't necessarily get lumped into a specific special topic or category. We'll just pop in your feed from time to time with a diaries episode and just give you an update on what's going on with us and give you a chance to think about, hey, what are some of the things that have been top of mind for you lately and how have you been navigating and getting through?
So what about what's Dear Journal?
Dear Anxiety Warriors Diary. So the big thing lately that I've been dealing with, I mean, it's a million little things like always, but it's getting the business ready.
Yeah.
And by the time this comes out, it could very well be wide open at that point.
Ooh.
But here we are at the tail end of October. And so we're in that. And when I say we, I mean my business partner, Christy. She was our former guest, Christy Parisi, who's amazing. Love you, Christy. My business partner, Christy, and I are working on our kids yoga studio here on Long Island, Ground and Center, opening in Bayshore. And let me tell you, it is a lot to do.
Yeah.
It is so much to do. Yeah. Like when I left teaching back in 2015, I was a classroom teacher for over 10 years. When I left doing that to be a yoga and mindfulness teacher full time, I didn't think that hard about it. Yes, I was, because I was just so done. I was so ready to leave. And I did all the things to get myself in a position to at least start, right? See how it was going to go and then build myself up from there. And so when I did that, it felt right. It was great. And every other business decision that I've made since then has felt like a leap, certainly. Scary, yes. Risky, yes. But for some reason, this feels like the riskiest thing I've ever done. And it's also one of the most exciting things I've ever done. And so I'm trying to square those two things in my mind where it's just there's so much to do. There's so much work. There's so many calls to make and logistics and money being poured in and no money coming in yet. And there's just so many things that we have to do. While also holding true in my mind that it feels right. It's been so aligned. I truly believe that this is a great and wonderful next step for me in my kids yoga teaching experience and journey. And I'm really stoked about it and all the things that I'm hoping it will be, right? And that it can be.
Yeah.
And so I'm just dealing with the everyday grind of what I keep saying is building the infrastructure. And once the infrastructure is built, we can just sort of maintain, Yeah. And keep the wheels greased and keep everything rolling and functioning. And so the anxiety lately has just been navigating the to-do lists. The to-do lists have just felt endless. I always felt like I had an endless scroll of shit to do. But there's something about having a physical space where you're going to leave all your shit and people are going to come to you and take class or workshops or whatever that feels like oh man, there are just so many more things for me to think about. But the other part of my brain is like, but didn't you have just as many things to do when you were leaving the classroom and then changing your career completely?
Mm-hmm.
It was just that the list was spread out maybe a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more. And these lists just feel like, okay, it's existential. I need to get this done today. Otherwise, tomorrow's too late.
Yeah.
And some of that is like, I know it's just me putting that on myself. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't actually need, everything's going to be fine if I get this done tomorrow. Everything's
Right.
going to be fine. And so it's a constant having to remind myself that I'm safe and everything's going to be fine if I don't get everything done today.
Yeah.
So,
Does
yeah.
having a partner, like someone you're doing this with, add to anxiety or ease anxiety, right? Like um
Mm,
because you have to collaborate, you have to work together, right? and
yeah.
and obviously you both work well together, which is why you decided to do this, right? But there's still like things that you have to talk about together and make decisions about together.
Yes.
And does that add some anxiety? Does that ease some anxiety? Do you feel like you're doing your to-do list more quickly because you have a partner, or
Mm.
right? Like how does having a partner maybe play into making it better or more challenging?
Ah, such a great question. So I would say it's definitely a mix of both.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to put a percentage on it, I would say it's 70% less stressful having a partner
Yeah.
and
Yep.
30% added challenge simply because I can't just make the decisions myself. Like you
Right.
said, all the decisions, especially for this phase where we're building everything from scratch
Yeah.
together, um, every little thing has to be signed off on by the other person, right? Who owns
Mm-hmm.
50% of this venture. And
Mm-hmm.
so that for the most part feels so supportive because Christy and I have we have good communication. We've had to have some spicy conversation
Mm-hmm.
and we've navigated it, I think, swimmingly. And she would agree. I know she would because we patted ourselves on the back several times after a couple in particular. But um and we fully admit, right, that we were both used to being solopreneurs
Right.
only and not having to connect with another person about our desires and wishes or,
Mm-hmm.
how much to spend on X versus Y or whatever. And so navigating some of that is part of the anxiety for sure. Like I said, I'd say it's like 30%, but
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't
Right.
for her. I wouldn't be doing this at all if it weren't for having a partner, having
Yeah.
someone who is supportive, who's smart, who is nourishing, who I can have, restorative conversation with when there is a struggle, um, makes all the difference. And I wouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
so like I feel like for the most part, that's the least of my problems. That's the least of my stress or to-do list. I don't feel like I'm moving faster because I have her. I'm able to lean on her when I need to, and she's able to lean
Mm,
on me when she needs to. And so, yeah, I feel like it's definitely part of the challenge because how could it not be, right?
yeah.
But for the most part, it just feels like the challenge is just how much it's just the sheer volume of stuff that needs to get done.
Right.
And that even when we're splitting it up, right? Okay, you do X, I'll do Y, you handle this, I'll do that. Okay, you don't have time tonight because you're dealing with X. Okay, I have time tomorrow. And just sort of being in constant communication and being, outspoken, but also compassionate with each other,
Mm-hmm.
being understanding, but also speaking our truths, right? Like it's a lot of navigating, but it's been it's been a growth spurt for me for sure in a good
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And so I know it's all worth it and I know it all will be worth it, but it's just the volume of to-dos
It's a
that
lot.
is giving me the most anxiety these days.
Yeah. And it
It's
probably
just
just
like
constantly
800
keeps
things.
going. Right.
It feels like I'm never done,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I know I will be, right? And I
Right.
keep, people that have started brick and mortar businesses have been really awesome too, like on Instagram or like, over the phone or over Zoom. Just like you are going to get through this. It's
Yeah.
going to be great. It'll all be worth it.
Right.
And I have your back. If you have questions, ask. I'm here for you.
Mm.
I had someone say, and it just like made me sigh in relief. She was just like, I'm an open book for you. Like, which was just like, what a beautiful gift that is, because, and it made me reflect on, you know, how I hope to be able to serve people that are stepping outside of their comfort zones to do something that I've had experience with.
Right.
While at the same time honoring my time, right? And so it's going to be dependent on my relationship with that person. And so I felt very lucky that I have enough of an excellent relationship with that person in particular, but so many people who have just been there for me when I've been dealing with all of this. And so that would be my biggest win and takeaway from all this added anxiety, is just finding out who my community is in this, right? Through this venture. It's like, oh, right, I forgot that my community isn't just Christy,
right,
and, you know, Adam, or like anyone that's like really adjacent to the situation, but it's other small business owners, it's other women in business, it's other people that open brick and mortar businesses, even if they're not in New York. I've been talking to kids yoga studio owners. Some of them I've become really, you know, friendly with over the past few months, especially, and they've just been so open and text me anytime. It's just like, oh my God, like, yes, this is, I don't know how I'd be doing it without the support. And so that's been my saving grace, is just having live human beings care about my stress. And offering to help, even if it's just to say, you've got this, I love you, you know, you're going to be amazing, and this is going to be the best. So
it's supposed to be hard. It was hard for all of us, and you still got it, right? Like,
right. Saying that piece about saying it was hard for all of us, that's been really important for me to hear. Because I'm not, you know, I joke that I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I am to some extent, but I'm not a type A kind of person. Like I can be a really deeply messy person and an all over the place kind of person. And I'm sort of okay with like the A to Z kind of nature of how I operate. Because for the most part, you know, things don't fall through the cracks. I get everything done. You know, I work hard. People, you know, it's never an issue. But at the same time, I feel like if I had to do anything completely alone, I wouldn't be able to do it, but I wouldn't want to admit that to myself, that I can't do everything completely alone. Admitting that to myself and out loud, even to you on our podcast, which it's like, I'm obviously admitting it to more than just you at this point, because it's being recorded and putting out into the world. But it feels hard to say, I can't do everything myself. So practicing not doing everything myself and really leaning on people has been interesting and awesome and really awesome. It's like, oh yeah, people do care. They do want to support.
Right.
And they're not just doing it out of obligation. Otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Right. Exactly.
So
I'm sure that's a big thing that's hard for a lot of people to admit. Right.
Yeah. Right. It's like, I'm always saying, don't be afraid to ask for help. Which, like, and I mean it. When it comes to like mental health support, or when it comes to emotional support, but when it comes to work stuff, I don't know. I've just always had this block where I'm just like, figure it out yourself. And that's wrong, really, at the end of the day. It's
all wrong. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like connect with others. There's so much more we can learn when we connect with others and grow. And
exactly. Yes. Totally. Yes, ma'am. So anyway, that's my spiel. What about you? What's going on lately?
I feel like two parts. Like, one, I want to just say, like, I feel like I haven't had that much anxiety lately. Right. Like, but I feel like I've had a lot of thoughts around my changing body. And I just feel like I need the NPR voice.
Changing bodies.
Our bodies are changing when we turn 40. Right. And like, but I like that, like, there's like, how do I know if the experiences I'm having now in my body, right, whether extra tired or weight gain or like joints feeling weird sometimes, or like whatever it is. Like my joints haven't
Yeah.
really felt weird, like once in a while, like, but that's happened since before I was 40. But like all these things is like, oh, is this because I'm, you know, because I'm in my 40s now? Or is this because like these are symptoms of perimenopause? Or is this, you know, symptoms of my thyroid acting up? Or is this just part of being 40 and not going to kickboxing daily? Right. Like, and so there's just been a lot of thought given to my body and noticing changes in my body, and then trying to figure out, is this like something I should, you know, correct or see a doctor or deal with or not deal with, or, you know, and I mean, I like had my like yearly gynecologist appointment like a week or two ago. And I actually like didn't really talk about any of this. I mean, yeah, because I just feel like it's kind of normal. But then she went into a whole spiel because I wasn't even thinking perimenopause. Right. And then she went into a whole spiel about that. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's not a thyroid thing, or maybe it's not because I'm getting older, or maybe it's not because my metabolism's slowing down, or maybe it's not. Right. And so it's like, I was, maybe now I can think about, is it perimenopause? And then I have to Google that and see that for some people it starts around 40, between 40 and 44. And so that's really been my what I've been thinking about a lot. And so like, you know, I don't feel like I have any immediate health concerns where I feel like I need to see a doctor.
Right.
But with the amount of weight I've gained, and now that I've started working out again, and like it just keeps going up rather than staying the same, right? And like nothing else is changing. It's like, is this thyroid, you know? And then with our culture, you know, shaming people for not being super skinny, like, you know, I get in my head about that, but like Dan is super, super support. Like he's not like, you fat bee, get over.
Jesus.
No. No, I mean, he's just so loving and great.
No, I know.
But, you know, at some point for me, the thoughts are, is this like normal? Right. Because I didn't have a consistent workout during the pandemic. So maybe my metabolism has slowed down. Or is this like a thyroid thing? Because I did have a thyroid issue last December, but my blood work has come back normal since. Right. And if I got put on a thyroid med, would I have more energy and stop gaining weight?
Right.
And I don't know that answer yet, because right now my blood work's normal. Right. But so that's really where I am. And I'm not like that stressed out about it, but it's just like a constant hum. Right.
It's just been on your mind.
It's been on my mind. But you know, I'm, you know, working out more. Jonna, one of our previous guests, has been an accountability coach for me.
Awesome.
So she's been like supporting me in like, I set my goals with her. And she checks in, makes sure I'm meeting my goals. And then I'm, you know, supporting her with, she's doing some business stuff for coaching for health. And so it's been a really nice trade that we're doing. But you know, it's, you know, it's just, it's hard when like I've been consistent for like, I don't know, 5 weeks now, and the scale is not even neutral. It's like going up. It's like, come on, dude, what's happening? Right? Like,
you're just like, what the fuck, bitch?
Yeah. Like, I'm
that's
taking a break
horseshit
from the scale, right?
That's
but
horseshit.
I'm not eating more. I'm barely like having alcohol, right? Not like I had a lot of alcohol before, right? But I might have had a few drinks a week, and now it's like I only have a drink if like Margot and Adam are in town, or like, you know, like even when we like I had a drink for Dan's birthday, but like I can count on my hand how many drinks I've had in like months. So weight gain coming from? Is it 40? Is it perimenopause? Is it thyroid? Is it metabolism? Is it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I always just wonder, like, I don't have answers for you, obviously.
What?
I'm so sorry.
I thought part of Anxiety Diaries was supposed to get answers from this.
No, you write in your diary and nothing happens.
Exactly.
Other than you get out your thoughts. That's it.
Yeah.
No, but what I want to say is just like, I wonder what it's like for those people in the world. And I'm not one of them, who never think about their body, because so many people Like, I feel like it's easy for us to say, like, oh, everyone worries about their body, or everyone is insecure, or everyone has, and I think that there's something that's true about that for many, if not most people. But I think that there's a lot of people out there that exist and they don't think about their body in the same way. Some of it I think is gendered, or I'm sure that it is. Some of it has to do with, age and circumstance or whatever. But that's what it just popped into my mind, because I can relate in some ways to a lot of the things that you shared in terms of like throughout my life, just the overthinking about body stuff, literally anything. Like, like what is that? And it was never like, oh, like we read the jokes before about being a hypochondriac, or like being afraid that like the slightest little leg cramp means that you have like a blood clot or whatever. None of that, although I won't lie, that's come up more in recent years. It pops into my brain more than it ever did when I fell and hurt my knee last year. I was like, I had to wait on the ground for a good 30 seconds before I'd even attempted to move, because I was like, what if something's broken? I can't just go flying out of this position. So those were new thoughts. But my thought or my reflection is just like, sadly, maybe, is that it is so normal to me anyway to overthink about body stuff. I feel like most of us, many of us, have been thinking about our bodies, what's wrong with them, how they look, how we're supposed to be, what's supposed to be smaller, what's supposed to be bigger, what's supposed to look like this, what color you're supposed to be, what color, literally everything, right? Pops into my brain all the time and has for my whole life. So I can relate. I think a lot of warriors can fully relate to this like sort of hum of irritatedness when it comes to like WTF.
Yeah.
And I want to just acknowledge that like it's a really honest and vulnerable thing to admit that you're like struggling with that, because I feel like a lot of people are just not willing to say that they're struggling with that, or they keep it to themselves, or they're afraid to speak up or whatever. And I think it's awesome that you are actively looking at solutions or whatever, or at least being open to or curious about it without, or hopefully, and correct me if I'm wrong, without beating yourself up, right? Without being like showing yourself no grace whatsoever. And if you're actively not practicing showing yourself grace, I'm going to offer it to you just as your friend who loves you, because I feel like that's just something that all of us need all the time. It's just more fucking grace to just say, I'm doing the best I can with what I have today in this moment.
Yeah.
And I know you are. I know I believe most of us are, not just when it comes to body stuff, but it comes to like anything that we're dealing with. We can only do the best we can do today. And if we can't, then we do it tomorrow. Like life is long, as Lauren Stanton would say.
I was thinking about her today. I was reading a book and I was thinking about her, but that's a side topic. I won't go on. The thing that I do is I anchor myself into, even though I don't know if this is a thyroid issue or perimenopause, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Or nothing, or right. The thing I anchor myself into is feeling grateful that I feel healthy, even though I feel tired, even though I don't like the number on the scale. I feel healthy, and that is something that is always stuck with me. Like, at least I have my health. So I might not fit into the clothes the way I want them to. I might not like the way my body looks right now, but I'm really trying to practice not having like a negative thought towards it. Like, just be neutral. Like, this is my body today. Right. But I do anchor into the thought of like, I have my health. And I'm very grateful for that. I feel like I have a very good immune system. I feel like, I work with kids a lot, and I feel like I shouldn't even say any of this, right? Like, I don't have some lid to knock on, right? But like, I have my health, and I feel grateful for how, healthy I am. And so that's what I anchor into when I notice like, oh my God, I've been working out this long, and, and my body should be different, and it's, different in the way I don't want it to be. Right. So.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome that you were able to reflect in gratitude for the amazing things that your body does every day, all the time. Right?
Yeah.
And, that's definitely a practice that I have too. I feel that when it comes, or I mean, at least for me, sometimes it's about like, I feel like I want to be more flexible in that pose, or I used to be more flexible in that pose. And like, what the fuck's happened to my hip flexors? What's happened to and like, it's okay. So it's about acknowledging like things are different. And some of that is just true. And we have to just be here now, right?
Yeah.
Can't just, I could sit here for 20 minutes and cry over the fact that I can't, be in a high lunge for more than 30 seconds without being like, get me the fuck out of this pose. I'm done. Right. Anymore. When before it was like, boop, easy peasy, hang out here for 10 minutes if I could.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, have to be like, but it's amazing that I have a body and that I'm
Yeah.
able to do this at all. And
Yes.
so, and it's not to placate, the situation or to like talk down any feelings that you or I or anyone might have about it. But I think that it's having gratitude for things does change the mindset
It helps.
just more broadly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just another side food for thought. It's like 5 weeks is a long time, but it's in the grand scheme, right?
Yeah.
In the grand scheme, it's a lot. It's maybe not as long. And so like I could feel your frustration. I feel like if that were me, I'd feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
So fully validating that feeling for sure. At the same time, if you sort of step back and look at 5 weeks, it's not that
I mean,
significant.
it's been longer. It's been 5 weeks since I've had the accountability coach, and I've
So
been
with serious regularity then, right?
Yeah, with serious regularity. But
Yeah.
I mean, I've been moving more than 5 weeks, but this has been like since I started with John,
Concentrated.
right? Where I was
Got
really
it.
paying attention and,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah. But,
I got you.
I'm thinking of buying a weighted vest, walk around with
Oh,
that for like an hour, or take the dogs for a walk with that on. You get them like for
wow.
like, yeah, that's actually like, okay, I don't know if this is pseudoscience or not. So no one believe me until you look it up yourself. But I read it's actually like good for bone density. And, there's this woman in Woodstock. My mom's going to know exactly who I'm talking about. I don't know her name. And apparently there was like a time in her life where she was told like she would like never walk again. And
Oh,
she walks all the time around my mom's block wearing a weighted vest. So I actually like
wow.
thought of her and was like, hey, maybe I should get a weighted vest. Right. And supposedly it's like good for bone density. It's good for just, so
How much weight?
not a lot. You're supposed to do a percentage based on how much you weigh. So like
Okay,
not
got it.
more than 10% of your actual weight. And you should, based on, I only started researching this like yesterday. And you should start smaller than the 10% of your weight and then work up.
Work your way up. Yeah.
And you don't wear it all day, right? Like don't do that. Like wear it for an hour, or wear it while you take your dogs for a walk, or wear it while you're like doing household chores like laundry or dishes or something,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you decide to do that, I'd be curious to hear how that goes.
Yeah. And so if any of the warriors, mom included, have any tips about weighted vests, let me know. But probably by the time this episode comes out, I would have made a decision and bought it. But still,
right.
Yeah,
but right, they might have insider experience that they can offer at some point.
Yeah.
Some specific practice you could do with the vest, or if they had a really bad experience with the vest, maybe you stop using. I mean, who knows? It could be anything. So definitely reach out if you have experience. Share them with Abby. So warriors, we hope that you maybe sit with what's going on with you these days. What are some things that are popping up in your everyday, or that are coming up in the future, whatever it is that might be currently causing you some anxiety, weighing on your mind, causing you stress, that maybe doesn't fit into a little category, and just maybe journal on it, meditate on it, talk to a fellow warrior about it. Have your own little anxiety diary sesh with a friend or a loved one. And even if they're not a fellow anxiety warrior, I'm sure that they can still maybe relate to the experience that you're having, or at least hold space and remind you of your value and your worth and your love, and be able to be supportive of you and you of them. So let us know how that goes if you do. Mm-hmm. And if you have something that's going on with you and you feel called to share it with us, reach out. Let us know what's going on with you. And again, at the very least, we can witness it with you and hold space for you. So We love you. We love you, warriors.
We
and
love
all
you.
of your anxiety-ness.
Margot, do you have a win of the week? A win of the week.
Win of the week. My win is just being almost done with the renos on our space.
Woo!
Almost done with the renos. And again, I know this episode will be out in a bit. And so maybe by then we'll be doors wide open because the renos are nearly done. And we've already got our soft launch date, our open house date, and our first week of classes are scheduled and up. And a website's going to be dropping soon, and all the things are coming together, and like everything's coming together in the next like 7 to 10 days.
Yes.
So it's just, it's wild. It's crazy. It's amazing. And so that is my huge win. It's just seeing the space come together from being just like a big open room, not even that big, but just an open room, and transforming it and making it our own. And hopefully it's going to be a beautiful space. Well, we know it's a beautiful space. But all the kiddos and their grownups can come and practice yoga with us.
So excited.
Yeah. So that's my win.
I'm excited to see pictures.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It's before and after and all that.
Yep. All right, warriors, we love you so much. And if you'd like to connect with us, maybe you want to share your experience with the weighted vest or what's going on with you, you can reach out to us on Instagram, DM us at Anxiety Warriors Podcast, or you can feel free to shoot us an email at anxietywarriorspodcast@gmail.com. Shout out your wins of the week, big or small. Let us know if you have any great topic ideas, things you'd love to hear us chat about on the pod. Let us know so we can, think about it. Or if you think you would be an amazing guest on our show, also hit us up. Let's get you on the calendar. Let's help you tell your story. Please take a moment and smash that 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're tuning in right now. You can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of our episodes are uploaded for you over there. And if you're feeling super generous, tap on the show notes link, the Threadless merch shop link, and grab yourself something fun from our shop for the holidays.
That's right.
Do it. Do it now.
Just hit pause before we say the ending and go into our show notes.
Yeah.
And then come back and listen to us thank you.
Yes. And then the thank you could be not just for listening, but for purchasing.
Yes. So I'm going to just give a universal thank you. Thank you. We are so grateful we get to go on this journey with you. So thanks so much, y'all.
Till next time.